Okay, escrow changes. Let's talk about escrow changes. I've been talking with Alpine and I've been talking with Uptown. And they, just in case you're wondering, everything I'm going to talk about here, they're both on the same page. They're both doing exactly the same, okay? Because these are the best practices. The attorneys are dictating on the escrow side how they go about doing what they are going to do. So escrow has changes just like we have changes. The way that we handle our commission disbursement authorizations is going to be different, okay? And first of all, what's going to happen is when you open escrow, you're going to open escrow, you're going to provide them with the necessary information, and you're going to provide them with a copy of your BRBC, okay? The buyer side, right? Or escrow is going to be requesting that from the buyer's agent. When they ask for it, give it to them, okay? You're only required to give them the last page, okay? And both escrow companies understand that they will accept the last page. So you don't have to provide the whole. Now, if you're using XYZ escrow in yada yada, or Bananaville, I don't know what to tell you. You probably shouldn't do that. Probably shouldn't use Bananaville Escrow Company, right? Because they're going to do things different. Everybody's going to do things different. They're going to ask more of you. But our two trusted entities that we do most of our business with, they ask for a BRBC, give it to them. Give them the last page of the document that's signed by the client. If you don't have a BRBC, you have a PSRA, you have to give them all 3 pages because the amount is on one page and the signature is on another page. The BRBC has the signature and the amount on one page, okay? So you have to provide all 3 pages of the PSRA. You might as well just give them the whole BRBC. I mean, who cares, right? But that's up to you. They're going to ask the listing agent for a copy of the listing agreement. Provide the listing agreement to them, okay? You can provide the first page and the last page for signatures on a listing agreement if you don't want to give your whole listing agreement. But you need to be able to tie the amount and the signature, the authorization, because that's what is authorizing escrow to pay you. So that's how that's going to work. Yes. Sellers not paying all of buyer's agent's fees. So it gets a little tricky. Let's say you have a transaction where the SPBB is for 3%, and the seller says, I'm only going to pay 2.5%. They counter the amount, okay? If you don't provide a MTBR, modification of the buyer representation agreement, saying that you're lowering it to the 2.5%, if you don't provide that, then they're going to assume that the buyer's paying the other 5%. Make sense? So if they aren't paying the 5%, if you're going to cave and you're going to give them a gift of 5%, because you already have an agreement with them, right? It's like, I don't mean to be sarcastic about it, but if you're going to do that, then make sure you sign a MTBR. And that also has to be provided to escrow so they know. Don't get mad at them when you get down to the end of escrow, because I'm telling you now, they are assuming that if you don't provide a modification of the buyer broker agreement, the buyer's going to pay what the seller doesn't pay.
An MTBR is a modification in terms for the buyer.
Yeah, it's a specific modification of terms for the buyer broker agreement. Okay. And then the other change that's different, some agents like to not have the commission on one form or provided to everybody because they don't want the other side knowing what they're getting paid. You can't do that anymore. Okay, the attorneys are advising that part of the settlement agreement, everybody needs to know what everybody's being paid. It's all about the transparency of it. So it will be on one combined commission disbursement. Okay, you won't be able to ask anymore to have it be separate. Okay, is there any questions or concerns about that? So the last thing I'll say is that's what's going to happen today. I can't tell you what's going to happen a month from now, 2 months from now. If I stand up here the next week and I tell you that we're doing it differently, or if escrow says before I get the chance to tell you that we're doing it differently, or I've said it and you weren't here to hear it, things may change. And all I can tell you is if you want to get paid, know that Catherine over at Uptown and our team here at Alpine, they want to minimize your paperwork. They don't want to ask you for anything other than what they need to, in order to comply. So do what they tell you. The rest of the world, that's on you. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the Wild West with Banana Escrow Company. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Part of the paperwork. What, I don't know the formula.
Mhm.
But that, the BRBC, what is on those other pages? Why would we not want complete, because my thought is, that let's say there's someone's name on page one, and we only give the signature and our signature in the amount. How do we know who's getting paid? So why aren't we getting complete? I mean, we can't have any, in my opinion, in my problem, we can't have any exposure to anything. So to me, if there's something on those other pages that someone could bring up and say, well, that wasn't us. Why would, and most of the stuff is PDF anyway, so I don't understand the form of it.
So, yeah, the answer to the question is the ultimate document that says who's getting paid what is the commission disbursement document, which is generated and verified with the listing agreement and so there's a redundancy built in. The requirement is that escrow needs to have an amount and needs to have the seller's authorization. That is the requirement. And so, yes, it's going to be better to provide the whole document. But what I'm telling you is that CR designed the last page of the BRBC specifically, so all you had to present was the last page. So from that standpoint, again, I may stand up 2 weeks from now and say, you got to provide everything. Okay, but as it stands right now, that is satisfactory for us. And that's what the attorneys are all indicating. Any questions on that? Okay, everybody's good?